Welcome to the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the almighty B-Live, the money man Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative Eddy. The Sports Bros Podcast, by the fan, for the fan, talking sports just the way you like it. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the Sports Bros. Oh, it's Wednesday, and you know what that means? It's time once again for your favorite sports podcast, none other than the Sports Bros Podcast. We're back. Nia Jax is back. I really didn't expect to see that one. And wow, week one of the NFL has come and gone, and so has week two of college football. B-Live will talk more about college football. We'll talk about week one of the NFL season. Just to let you know, it's going to be a football-heavy episode. If you're a football fan, you are in the right place. Enough of me running my mouth. I'm here to introduce not one, but two best co-hosts of the world, coming to you live from the shared studios. He is the almighty B-Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? I'm going to go ahead and get this out of my system right now. First off, the official hashtag, fantasy football problems. I want to throw away the entire season already. Let's just go ahead and get it out of the way. And majority of this podcast coming from me, yours truly, the almighty B-Live, will be centered around fantasy football. Why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep torturing myself every single year? But I'm okay. I'm okay. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. What the heck is bothering me?
Go ahead. Take your fantasy football teams.
Just introduce the other guy, and I'll be all right. Remember my breathing exercises. Whoop, sigh, pressure.
And the other guy, he is the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania, a proud student at the Waynesburg University. You can see him doing volleyball games, football games, and looking out for trains. He is the one, the only, the money man, Scottie D.
Because there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. Well, B-Live, I'm surprised to hear you worry about your fantasy football problems when clearly you've got Dabo problems. Clearly.
Yes, sir.
I can't believe we lost that first game. I can't believe we got beat like that. But it's a long season. We're just getting started. It was. I know.
The first thing in the morning, he's coming with it.
I'm a Pitt guy, and it didn't look good down at Acrisure on Saturday night. I was there for that debacle against Cincinnati. It's going to be a long year for the Panthers. Could be a bad ACC year altogether. It looks like the Seminoles have already locked it up. But anyway. I'm getting ahead of ourselves. It's good to see you guys. I hope you had a great week off last week. Taking a little break from me and my my snarkiness, my smart aleckiness. But anyway, I've saved up a little bit more. I'm trying to. It's early in the morning as we record. I'm trying to not use bad language early in the morning. Anyway, Eddy, cool. Let's talk about some football, buddy.
You know what? Let's go ahead and quit the BS and let's go ahead and hop right into it. The top of the order. All right, let's get this thing started. Here it is, the top of the order. Fellas, week one is in the books. That Monday night game was wild. We had some Sunday night games that made us go, huh? And then some Sunday night games that made us go, damn. So with that being said, fellas, the three of us, we picked 3 games that were most intriguing to us. With that being said, Scottie D, which game in week one intrigued you the most?
Well, I'll start right at the beginning. The Thursday night affair with the Detroit Lions upsetting the defending indestructible Super Bowl champions. And just let me throw this blanket over the entire NFL before I get into that. Week one this week looked like week one. It's like this every year. It's sloppy play. It's penalties. I mean, Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott looked pretty bad. And, I'll give both of them a little bit of a pass because they were thrown with wet balls. But Josh Allen didn't look good. The Eagles' offense was out of sync, and admittedly, Sirianni said I might rethink my plan next year of how to operate going into the season, get a little bit of reps in preseason, and that's kind of it. Nobody plays really much in preseason, so you're kind of coming into this game cold. You're coming in without any rhythm. You haven't played football in half a year, so I think you can attribute some of that to what we saw on Thursday night. The Chiefs looked out of sync. And I know they didn't have Travis Kelce, and that kind of maybe threw the offensive rhythm off a little bit. He's important. He's important to Patrick Mahomes because a year ago he lost Tyreek Hill, and man, he was just running a track meet for Miami and Tua out there against the Chargers on Sunday. But it didn't seem like Mahomes missed much of a beat by losing Tyreek Hill, but losing Kelce the other day, and again, it could just be the week one blues. But to lose at home to Detroit like that, it was a sloppy game. It was Kadarius Toney had the dropsies, he had the whoopsies, the butterfingers. And it's not like Detroit looked great, but they looked good enough to belong on the field. And everyone is saying, hey, the Lions are going to be good this year. And they go in and they win right off the bat. During the banner ceremony, the ring ceremony for the Chiefs, they went on their turf. And they did look like a team that is ready to run through a wall for their coach. I will say that the Lions, I think it's going to be hard to argue against them being legit this year. The defense looked pretty solid. They got a couple running backs look good. Montgomery seemed to fit his role there on this first night with Detroit. Goff again didn't look great, but good enough to win a football game for you, and that's what they did. So that I was impressed by Detroit. And I'm not going to go out on the ledge just because Kansas City lost in week one. Week one is what it is. Be live.
When you speak of Kadarius Toney, I want you to hit him with that. Who is it? Who sings that song? Look, ma, no hands. I said, look, ma, no hands.
I know you're talking about. Yeah,
but yeah. Kansas City, they'll be all right. I promise you they'll be all right. But they need a true number one receiver, and that usually is Travis Kelce, but they need a receiver to step up as well. I'm gonna jump on the hype train because the city of New York was hype all the way hype. And I'm not talking about the Giants because good Lord, that was Cowboys, y'all shouldn't have beat them that bad. That was just pitiful.
Woo!
Yeah.
That was
you should be.
And I was wrong on that.
D.
If you remember last 2 weeks ago, I said I thought that the Cowboys were going to come in looking unprepared and lose that game, and I was way wrong on that. Thank God.
That Cowboys is going to be a nightmare. But I'm here to talk about what everybody's talking about on Tuesday morning. Whoo! The Bills versus the Jets. Everybody's talking about it because Aaron Rodgers. He played 4 snaps. And they replayed it 17,000 times, which I told them these networks about doing, especially when it comes to gruesome injuries. But you can see the slow-mo. That's an Achilles. That Achilles pop. You can see the back of his muscle pop. That is a tear of some nature.
Ooh.
It's has a big
season's over.
His season's over, and I wouldn't be surprised if his career is over.
He's 39.
So what incentive would he have, really, honestly? Only incentive he would have is to try to put together a season for New York, because he's hyped the city up. They were ready for him, and he comes out, the American hero, coming out with the American flag, of course, celebrating 9/11. Never forget all the brave men and women, first responders, and all of that. Absolutely. 22 years ago, man, the whole world changed, and people, can we remember how we came together 22 years ago? I'm sorry, I know we don't do we stick to sports, but I had to go and put that out there. But
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Aaron Rodgers wasn't the story. Josh Allen is the story. Because, and I'm gonna do, Scottie D, I'm gonna do you a favor. The entire offseason was all about Dak Prescott and his interceptions and his turnovers. Josh Allen had the same problem. But that wasn't the talk. There was some talk between him and Stephon Diggs and their meshing and see if those two could get along. Stephon Diggs being a diva like wide receivers are, he wants the ball more. He thinks he can do more. And you saw in this game here that Josh Allen tried way too hard to get Stephon Diggs the ball to the point where he's throwing interception after interception. And I'm talking about these were not like fluke interceptions. These were like not like where the defense was just magnificent. No, these are balls that had no business being thrown interception. It was bad, like catastrophic bad. And I appreciate that blanket that you threw across where everybody comes out rusty and looking terrible first game. But Josh Allen even said it the same. He said, same thing, different date. He knows what he did. He knew he had no business throwing those balls where he did.
So you don't think that he cleans that up? Because I kind of do. I mean, I think it's in his nature to be a little bit reckless with the ball, a little, take some chances. But I still think he's going to be fine. I'm not too concerned with that.
But here's the thing, and I get you, but you said it just yourself just now, where it's in his nature. Like it's just not something that.
Well, I think it's in his nature to take chance. I don't think he's going to throw 3 picks a game all year long.
But he's going to lead the league in interception. I'm gonna call that right now.
Well, he gives you a head start with 3 already. So.
It was sloppy, it was bad, and a New York Jets team, like the Jets defense is legit. Now, let's put it this way: their defense is tight, but the balls that he was throwing, hey, he had no business. It didn't make any sense. Like the receiver had no chance. Like the overthrown, underthrown, triple team. I'm going to try to get it out the stuff. Come on, bro. Okay. So I don't know if it's maybe Gabe Davis is not getting separation. They don't have a true threat underneath. Something's got to give with Buffalo. Buffalo, in my eyes, is not the way they played. Again, everybody's going to clean up something. The way they played, Buffalo ain't going to make the playoffs because they got a monster squad in that same division that I think is going to be. Watch out for the Miami Dolphins this year. Eddy, cool. What game did you watch? What you got going on?
Man, you ain't lying. That combination of Tua throwing for 400 yards and Tyreek Hill on his quest for 2,000 yards this season, he got a pretty good head start. Excuse me. He got a pretty good head start to getting that record. A game that intrigued me the most was a game that I was watching because when you're up here in Cleveland and a Panthers fan, unless you got a red zone or whatever the hell they call it, Sunday ticket, you're stuck with what they got on TV. So I had a choice between the Browns Bengals or the 49ers and Steelers. I chose the 49ers and Steelers because for fantasy football purposes, I got 4 teams and I got 49ers spread out all across 4 teams. So I really had a vested interest. So I'll say this. San Francisco was good. San Francisco is just they're that damn good. And Brock Purdy just showed us, hey man, that little sample serving was just, a little small taste, but here it is on the full-time starter. They were San Francisco was confident enough to let Trey Lance go, but look, we're gonna go ahead and roll Brock Purdy. I mean, from the looks of it, his arm seems to be in good shape, it's not affected by it. And then you got Christian McCaffrey looking like old school Christian McCaffrey before Carolina tried to run him to the ground, because he had on 22 carries, he had 152 yards, averaging 6.9 yards a carry and 1 touchdown. But the real shining star of that game was Brandon Ayuk, a guy who I sat in one of my fantasy football leagues. I don't know why, but I did it, right? So he had 8 receptions for 129 yards, averaged 16 yards a catch, and 2 touchdowns. So if there's any indication about who or any if anybody wants to know who is the real wide receiver one out in San Francisco, it is Brandon Ayuk. And the Steelers, I don't know what the hell to say about the Steelers. They just seem slow. They just seem sluggish. Kenny Pickett struggled. He didn't have any connection with George Pickens. It was more with Allen Robinson. I guess from the looks of it, from what I'm reading here, he led the team with what? 65 yards, and the Steelers, they did not look good at all.
Couldn't run the ball.
They couldn't run the ball. Yeah, they couldn't run the ball. They couldn't do nothing. I mean, the defense tried to do what they could, but it was just, I don't know what's going on in Pittsburgh. I don't know what's going on in Pittsburgh. Scottie D, I'm pretty sure local radio is just having their way with the Steelers, but
yeah.
But them damn 49ers, man, they look like the truth. Not the truth, but the truth. TROOF. And it's just it was a great game to watch, man, and just all across the board, the 49ers are a complete team. Let's just say this. Nick Bosa only registered one tackle, not a sack, one tackle. And the other guy, his name escapes me at the moment. He wound up being a benefactor of that and wound up getting 5 sacks. Let me see if I can find his name here. Drake Jackson had 3 sacks. So, yeah, kind of lopsided, but yeah, the takeaway from that, the 49ers are for real. All right, with that being said, fellas, going into week 2, what game do you have your eyeballs on? So I'm with you, Scottie D.
At this point, hope springs eternal for everybody. Half the league is undefeated, and half the league is only a game behind. So at this point, everyone, except maybe Houston, is feeling pretty good about their chances. The one that kind of, there's a handful of games that stick out to me as having a lot of interest, but the one that I'm intrigued by is the Green Bay Packers at the Atlanta Falcons, because I still don't know what we got really with either of these teams and what we have with their quarterbacks. Each got a win in the opening week. This one's in Atlanta, so I would expect Atlanta to win, being a home game. If this game was in Green Bay, I'd probably favor Green Bay. That's how I am viewing these teams at this point. But Green Bay, they got off to a decent start as far as defensively, not giving much up to Chicago, and maybe Chicago's got a lot of problems. Again, that's kind of the question mark. Jordan Love had an okay game. They always said Aaron Rodgers owned the Bears, and Jordan Love evidently has a little share as well, because he got right in there and kept business as usual. And Atlanta, I'm still uncertain. I know that they're an improving team. I picked them to win the division, but I'm not 100% sold them. So I'd like to see how these teams kind of feel each other out on Sunday. B-Live game is intriguing you going into this second week.
This one is actually pretty easy for me. I'm not going to be a homer. As much as I want to watch. I am going to watch the Panthers and Saints on Monday Night Football. Don't understand why we got to share our time with the Steelers and Browns, but that's okay. Aaron Rodgers gets his own, but we got to share. But
yeah, why don't they have, if they're going to do a doubleheader, not why East Coast, West Coast like they've done in years past? I don't understand this one either.
Oh, why did they do this week 1?
No. Aaron Rodgers had to have his own. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, you might be right on that. Yeah.
The game that I'm watching, can you imagine at this point in time, because of what happened week 1, can you imagine the Kansas City Chiefs being 0-2?
Yeah, and they could.
Because they're going to Jacksonville, and I'm telling you, I think Trevor Lawrence has found him as the true number 1 receiver in Calvin Ridley. Them boys were clicking, man, oh man. And you know me, all roads lead to Dabo. Seeing Trevor Lawrence and Etienne connect as well. Etienne looks like that dual threat running back that they were trying to set up when he was at Clemson. He's looking like he's coming to form. Jacksonville will be dangerous, and this could easily set the tone of the season if Jacksonville could take one from Kansas City and as the reigning, defending, undisputed national champion. You notice I said national champions as opposed to world champions.
I need to talk about that.
And this game could matter at the end of the season as far as if Kansas City gets on track like we expect them to, a home field kind of tiebreaker.
Absolutely. So I'm definitely going to be watching the Kansas City Chiefs versus Duval Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. Yes, sir. Let's get it. Eddie Cool, what's happening with you? What you watching next week?
Oh, before I get to that real quick, I just saw the replay again of that Aaron Rodgers Achilles tear. Ooh, you know when you take a blind and it does that? Yeah, that's what it looked like. But anyways, Anthony Richardson and Trevor Lawrence had a conversation at the end of the game last week. Trevor Lawrence said, "Look, kid, you're good, you're cool, you're the real deal. But stop taking those chances. Stop putting your body at risk. If you have to, I get it. But if you don't have to, that's good." And I tell you what, man, people have really been down on Anthony Richardson, man. But from what I've been seeing and reading, like he's the first one in, the last one to leave. Like Anthony Richardson, like, look, I want this. So I'm a big fan of the kid. You know what I'm saying? I'm a big fan of the kid. If he just just kind of cuts back on those mistakes, get his rookie year out the way, he'll be A-okay.
No,
I knew you was going to say something.
no, he won't.
The game of interest I'm looking at is, well, since I'm in the city, Cleveland at Pittsburgh. Can the Steelers use this Monday night platform to avenge their loss against the 49ers and get another one over on the Browns? Or will the Browns be the Browns and show that, hey, look, week one was not a fluke. We are here. We're together because Nick Chubb is still running the ball at an effective rate. I think Deshaun Watson is finally turning the corner because he was getting to the end zone. He hit the rock and roll guitar celebration. I said, uh-oh. I think once Deshaun Watson gets back to start having fun, it's gonna be trouble for everybody. So that's what I'm looking forward to, man. And that defense, man, that Browns defense is real deal. I mean, you got Myles Garrett at the line practicing his crossover. The ball snaps and then go get Joe Burrow. That's a dangerous man right there. Okay, that's a dangerous man when you start doing stuff like that. So, will Pittsburgh find their rhythm? Who knows? And can the Browns continue? I think they can. I think they lead this game at 2-0. I was gonna pick the Saints and the Panthers, but I might be live. I don't want to be a homer, but I will be watching. All right, Scottie D, what did you already pick your game?
Yeah, I'll pick another one.
Okay.
The Cowboys. I'm going to watch the Cowboys on Sunday.
All right, moving right along. I do that. Hey, man, your Cowboys look good. I ain't going to lie to you. And people be like, man, Dak did like he was supposed to look like. Well, when the defense play like that, you ain't got to do nothing. There's nothing you got to do.
Yeah, and I've been pretty critical of Dak. And that Sunday night was just absolutely absurd with the amount of rain that was coming down. It was, and what in the world? The Cowboys are up 40-0 with like 8 minutes to go in the game. What is Daniel Jones still doing on the field out there getting beat up in the showers like that? What? Why would they just paid this guy big money to be their quarterback long term, and you're sending him out there. He's already been on the turf like 8 times, and it's pouring down rain. Bad decision by Daboll. He's lucky that worse didn't come of that. Anyway.
Yeah, he's real lucky that worse didn't come. Hey, Scottie D, we had a Kavante Turpin sighting. He scored a touchdown.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, Kavante Turpin.
He got a couple touches the other night.
And from the looks of the Cowboy offense, I think they're going to get him more integrated into the system, which they should. I mean, hell, you got all that speed. You got to use it. Yeah. We're going into week 3 or week 4, technically, because I don't know why college football gives us week 0. I mean, 0 is a number that has no value. Anyways, going into week 3 of the college football season, Florida State looking good. Florida, everything else, and then some. So Deion Sanders got the Colorado Buffaloes looking good. I think they're sitting 18th in the polls right now. Scottie D, let's talk about the impact that he's been having so far in college football. Is he making it interesting again? Is he doing too much? Like, what say you?
Well, I'm going to say this.
Okay.
Deion isn't doing too much. The media is doing way too much. my question is, when did Deion sleep during the offseason? Because every single commercial around when I'm watching the Colorado game has his face. He's in it. He's in every commercial. How else is possible? This man is making hand over fist, and he's got this program rolling. Colorado signed this man to a contract they didn't have the money for. And the fans said, you know what, we got you. We got you. We're behind it 100%. And the media is eating it up. Because I think game day will be in Colorado this coming week. And like, it's pandemonium. But it's good pandemonium. I think it's good for the sport. I think people are watching the West Coast. It is good for the Pac-12. We only got 10 more, 12 more weeks of the Pac-12 before it becomes the Pac-2. They needed this last year. This is crazy. But man, no, just seeing what Deion is doing, seeing what he's telling all the haters. And anytime I see Matt Rule get beat up on, it's just a beautiful thing.
Oh, I love it. I was like, yes, beat his ass, beat him.
God, what were the Panthers thinking? Don't do that no more. But man, Deion, do your thing. I'm a supporter. I'm a fan. I want to see y'all break barriers. Now, the tests are still to come. It's the Southern Cals of the world, the Oregons, the Utahs, the Pac-12 is not a cakewalk this year. They actually haven't been a cakewalk. That's why they never make it to the playoffs, because they beat up on each other. So that right there is a clear indicator. We shall see. This year is going to be great. Scottie, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, the Deion thing. I mean, the reason he's on TV all the time and is getting all the sense because he's interesting, and he has been since he was a college kid. Last year Colorado won a single game. This year in week 2 they've already doubled that win total. Now, like you said, they have a hard road ahead of them in that conference, but he's got them believing, and he's got good players. It's not like this is flukish stuff. These are good players that he has on his team. I'm getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here, but in 2 weeks they're playing Oregon. That is a game that that's going to be crazy media attention on that one. You think he's had attention so far? You get especially if both teams win their game this week. I think Oregon's playing Oregon State this week. Maybe, is that right? These teams come in 3-0 each. Oh my goodness, this is going to be a media feeding frenzy. I think it's fantastic. Colorado's already getting their money's worth for what they spent to get Deion out there, because they not just have the hype, but seemingly have good players. Like you said, he said Travis Hunter already have the Heisman at the crib that have made a couple more catches in week 1 against TCU. It's Deion, and I love Deion. I've always loved Deion, and I couldn't be happier for him and the way his programs got started.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it like this, man. A lot of people gave Deion Sanders hell for leaving Jackson State, but in life there are floors and there are ceilings. All right, you start on the floor and you go up to the ceiling, right? And Deion probably felt that, hey, you know what? I did what I was supposed to do here. I've hit my ceiling. Now I've got called somewhere else, and I don't know why everybody was acting surprised, like why he at Colorado. He said in that 60 Minutes interview, if a Power 5 college came to me, I would be a fool not to entertain it. So why, I don't understand why people are mad, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. I don't know why black folks is mad. I don't know why. So you mean to tell me you got an opportunity to do better, and you're going to be like, I don't know about that. I don't know. Kiss my ass and all that. You're going to go where you can thrive, you can flourish, you can be the best you can, and just make things happen. And like Deion, he's come there, he's breathed life into a program. That program was like what, 1-10 last year, looking real bad, extremely bad. So he got a lot of BS off the team. Instead of guys wearing C's on their jerseys, they got L for leaders and D for dogs. And that Travis Hunter ain't no joke. That doggone wide receiver, the rest of the wide receiver core ain't no joke. I look at it like this. They're moving from the Pac-12 to the Big 12. They don't need to play some defense because, as we know, there is no defense whatsoever being played in the Big 12. I think it's a good move. I mean, look, you got Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. Smith, born in private jets. Shannon Sharp on the plane, looking like a little kid, eating his bacon and eggs, and getting ready to go to the game. And then you got like rappers like Cameron, and they had the freaking Wu-Tang Clan on the sidelines. Are you kidding me? They had the Wu-Tang Clan on the sidelines, and I read somewhere they had like 800 media credentials, media pass. I'm like, say about 20 of them because I know it's me, Scottie D, B-Live, Scottie D. I don't know what Waynesburg budget looks like, but tell them you found a hellified internship to go to Colorado and just do some study work and see if you can get credit for it. But yeah, man, it's the prime effect. It is the absolute prime effect, and I like it. It's good for college football, and like you both said, it gives us a chance to actually give a damn about some West Coast games because who wants to stay up for San Jose State and San Diego State? Not me, but like the more meaningful games, like, I want to see more of Caleb Williams. I want to see more of Shedeur Sanders, and Shedeur Sanders he looks unflappable. I don't want to say he looks unstoppable. He looks unflappable. He doesn't make too many mistakes. He's a quarterback. Everybody be like, oh, well, they say he good playing against the competition in the SWAC. Okay, he's leveled up and playing competition in the Pac-12 and pretty much picking up where he left off that. So you got to give it, you have got to give it to Coach Prime. You really got to give it to Coach Prime. All right, and so before we move on to our favorite portion of the show, B-Live needs 5 minutes to get it off his chest, a.k.a., ladies and gentlemen, Pikachus, mail carriers, lazy people, bad managers, booger pickers, and booty hole scratchers. This is the B-Live Top 5.
Oh man. You know how much I love college football. I don't.
Yeah, you do. Stop that line.
Scottie D ruined this episode for me. I was like, give me a moment to take in that loss that Clemson got dealt last week, the week prior. And so, we took a week off for Labor Day. So, but I keep the top 5 coming, and it changes every week depending on what's going on. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit you with after week 2, because week 1 is behind us, is well behind us, way behind us. But it's college football; it won't ever be behind us, and Clemson will always have that L. But starting at number 5, I'm gonna go with them Hook'em Horns, baby. Hook'em Horns. Texas Longhorns have arrived to the chat. Man, what a statement win against Alabama. Texas is here. Finally, after years, decades of being hyped up. Oh, this is their year. This is their year. It very well could be their year. And Texas said, hey, we're coming to the SEC. Let's get it. Let's go. Coming to number 4. Oh, we're going out west. We talked about it earlier. There's football being played out west. The University of Southern California, them Trojans, Heisman winner Caleb Williams, he said, hey, yo, I'm trying to go back to back. And this time I'm trying to bring a natty to the West Coast. I put him at number 4. Number 3. And this pains me to say it. This hurts me deep down to my core. And we will find out in 2 weeks if they are for real. The Florida State University Seminoles. My bad. I slipped of the tongue right there. Coming in at number 3, man, they handle business, especially in the second half against LSU. And I put them up there. And they got to come to Clemson in 2 weeks. We shall see. Please let it be at least competitive. I need to be competitive. Win or lose, I need to be competitive. I ain't gonna hear the end of it. Coming in at number 2. Oh, that team up north. Oh, the whole state of Michigan, the Wolverines. I don't see any reason, not yet, to knock them off. The way the Big Ten sits, they don't have to face too much competition. It's going to really come down to who wins Michigan and Ohio State this year as it sits. Ohio State's just outside of my top 5, but we'll see at the end of the year. You know what time it is. And number 1, good Lord. They cannot go back to back, can they? They can't win 3 in a row, can they?
Could.
They very well could, because I know the Georgia Bulldogs, they ain't got to worry about this week's competition.
I'll go ahead and say it. No, they don't. They don't. They do not. They do not. I know you was gonna go there. They do not. They do not. Hey, look, I'm a fan, but I'm a realist. But go ahead, be live. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna tell you this. This is gonna be real talk. I do a lot of trash talking about the Gamecocks. I really do. They're the in-state rival. I don't like them. They for damn sure don't like me. But I'm gonna say this. I think the Gamecocks are going to give Georgia just a little bit of problems, because I think Georgia's coasting. I don't think their quarterback play is the best. And this will be their first true test. They have played nobody. This is going to be their test. Now, South Carolina better, and I mean better, fix that old line, because Georgia always have them dogs on the D line. They better fix that, because Spencer Rattler will be running for his life. But I don't think Georgia scores that many. I think I wouldn't be surprised if it was 35-28 or 35-20. I wouldn't be surprised. I'd pick Georgia. I don't know what the spread is, but I might pick South Carolina for the spread. I'm going to say that. But that is the Be Live top 5. What I want y'all to do, my listeners, because Scottie D's looking at me funny, for the Be Live not top 5, just hit us up on YouTube, hit us up on all of our social media platforms. It's there.
I just think it's strange to omit Oregon when they beat Portland State 81-7. They scored 81 points. They almost scored 100. That's all. They almost scored 100, and they didn't. I mean, if you score almost 100 points in a game, you should be ranked really, like, maybe number 1. In Oklahoma, they beat Arkansas State 73-0. If you can win 73-0, you might deserve to be number 1.
This with you. I knew what's coming sooner or later.
What a game!
When it comes to Oregon, they were down against Texas Tech for the majority of the game.
But to be able to get by a team like Portland State, 82-7, that's pretty impressive.
Just to let everybody know, Portland State, just because they got mollywopped, they made my Be Live not top 5. They came in at number 5 after week 1, because that was that's tough. But I'm not mistaken, Oregon are not top 5 after week 2. Also, North Carolina going to double overtime against App State. Hey, not top 5. That's not top 5. Alabama, not top 5. Texas A&M, not top 5. You know what? My bad. I'm about to overstep my bounds, because I know what time it is. Go ahead and tell the people what time it is, and that's our favorite time of the show, because I might penalty box. I might break some rules. Andy, cool. Go ahead, take it over.
All right. Well, looking at my clock on my computer, guess what time it is, fellas?
Syracuse 65, Colgate 0.
Man, with that being said, Scottie D, it's time once again for our favorite portion of the show, the choices of the voices. And with that being said, hey, old button, bring me a fan, because it's hard to tell it here Hit it! Choices of the voices right here on the Sports Bros podcast. Oh, y'all gonna kill me.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful and
Ever so lovely,
Ms. Button, for hitting our favorite portion of the show, the choices of the voices. You know how we do it. We ask you the question, you give us the answers, and we talk about it and opine here on the Sports Bros podcast. Scottie D, what's the question for this week's choices of the voices?
Well, I told y'all to be on the lookout for the hot seat and let us know what coach's rear end you think is the closest to that hot seat. What coach do you feel is the most likely to get the axe going into the season? I mean, obviously, you have a good year, you're off that hot seat, but who do you think is going to be on that hot seat at the end of the season? And what do we get here, guys? What do the people say?
We talking about hot cakes, and we ain't talking about the pancakes at McDonald's. All right, so let's go ahead and get right into it. All right, Brian Lavelle, he says, I'll go with your boy, Scottie D, Mike McCarthy. Yep. All right, so he goes with Mike McCarthy. So scrolling down, we got one from Trey Dizzle, but you always know we save the best for last. What's up, B-Line?
The thing about it is with Trey Dizzle, him and Matty Ice had a debate. I want us to read the whole thing. Say that.
No, we can't go through all of that.
And this is good.
All right, give me Cliff Notes version of it.
Yeah, Cliff of the debate. Yeah,
we'll come back to it. But in Brian Lavelle's defense, this question came out before this week's game. So I'm just saying McCarthy, I don't think that seat is hot anymore. But there's a lot of Scottie D's over there. We're getting too far ahead of ourselves after just one.
Yeah. There's a lot of season left. All right. Joey Jacobs, he says, we know it won't be McCarthy. He would have to win a Super Bowl for Jerry to fire him.
Yeah, that's a Jimmy Johnson reference.
Yeah. Ain't that something? That something? That is wild, and that is crazy. Let's see who else we got here. We got my man AD Sears. He says Tampa Bay's coach for sure. He says Todd Bowles. Got them hot cakes is on the seat. All right, so he says Todd Bowles from Tampa Bay. All right, we got Josh Baker. He gave us an essay, but I'll read it, all right? He says Mike McCarthy finds a way to overstay his welcome. I'm glad for it for now that he's a Cowboy. Raheem Morris is on the hot seat, but I'll throw another name out. Robert Saleh. If the Jets struggle with all the upgrading they've done, I can see him gone. The Jets can run through coaches at times, and he's not being talked about because of the hype. But I feel that he could be gone if he doesn't win now. So Josh Baker feels that, hey, man, if Robert Saleh doesn't get it done right now, then he can go ahead and put it in the win. I'm gonna have to disagree with that. I mean,
and I think Aaron Rodgers definitely gave him a reprieve last night. If Aaron Rodgers is not there, and that arrow doesn't point to him as much if Zach Wilson's your quarterback all season.
Yeah, it's
but here's the thing. Before last night, this could be a valid statement because, man, it is all in or bust. But like if Aaron Rodgers was healthy, the Jets are all in. It is Super Bowl win or bust. There's no.
Yeah, I could see that. If Aaron Rodgers is there all year and they win 6 games, and you looking elsewhere, you're not going to blame Aaron Rodgers because you just gave up all that to get him. So yeah. But I think even with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, that team was going to be good this year. I mean, and they still might. He's not the only player on the team, and they got it done on Monday night. So very early call on that one, I think.
In dramatic fashion. Wow, in dramatic fashion. I was like, what a finish. B-Live said Monday Night Raw. I said, no, this game.
I was in between places, and I was just already upset, and we'll get into that. Well, I'm going to save that for Pepper.
Oh, yeah, and shout out to Spectrum and Disney. Thank you, appreciate it. Because I know y'all were gonna miss out on that damn money. I know that much. I ain't nobody. Come on now. All right, and we're gonna say,
Don't thank him yet. You're gonna end up paying for it.
oh boy, yeah. All right, and Trey Dizzle, we have to say the best for last. Trey Duke says, people might laugh at me now, but I think it should be Bill Belichick. Without Tom Brady, his career as a coach, he has 60 wins, 72 losses, and only one playoff victory. His record without Brady is lower than 91 other head coaches who also didn't have Brady. Tom Brady proved that it wasn't just Bill and Tampa, but Belichick has never proven he can do squat without Brady. If the Pats look bad or even worse this year again, they could absolutely look for a replacement. And no, it's not Mike McCarthy, because he has a backup quarterback right now, so you can't judge him based off of anything that happens this year. Let's see. He has more. He said, why wouldn't Dax, you know what?
Why?
I'm not reading that, Trey Dizzle. I'm not reading.
Favorite. I'm gonna do you a favor, Eddie Cool, because Trey Dizzle's an idiot. Matty Ice is coming back at him with some strength. So I'm gonna be Matty Ice. You be Trey Dizzle in this. All right.
All right.
Like you said, man, bunch of BS. You can say this about any coach with a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he's talking about Bill Belichick. It's not an accident the trio of Parcells coaches win Super Bowls. Naturally, there's a step down while trying to replace a Hall of Fame quarterback. Plenty of Bill's decisions toward preparing for opponents has won games, even the Super Bowl. Seattle game, he called other teams playing, told Butler what to expect, even practice what to do. It's ridiculous to not give Bill credit to. They were a team. Bill was a Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator as well.
Okay, say it about Bill Cowher. Say it about Mike Tomlin. Say it about Bill Parcells. Say it about Andy Reid and numerous other coaches who have been successful with and without great quarterbacks. People say Bill Belichick is the greatest coach ever. Nowhere near it, and it's been proven since Brady has retired. He started the New England Patriots at like 5-11. Then the next year they were 0-3, and then here comes Brady. They go on to win 6 Super Bowls and have 0 losing seasons. The second Brady leaves, he goes back down to 500 at best, missing the playoffs entirely. He's mediocre as a coach, and he's absolutely terrible at drafting.
Oh boy, coming with the heat though, but nah. Matty Ice comes back with it. Without a great quarterback, it's about impossible to win a Super Bowl. Look at Andy Reid, look at Tomlin. But either way, he's one of the winningest coaches ever. Can't take it away. Any coaches for the Pats, or as long as he likes, ain't no hot seat there. I'm going to the Cowboys-Panthers game this year. I might have to find a Tony Dorsett jersey to wear. Tom Landry, now that we can agree, was a fine coach.
I didn't say win a Super Bowl. I said just be a winner. He's 60-72 without Brady. That's garbage. Worse than Mike McCarthy without Rodgers. Worse than Jason Garrett. And worse than Wade Phillips.
Man, hold on. Hey, Matty Ice comes back. You can't compare those guys. It is what it is. Bill has done it all, and he's successful, one of the best. It's like people trying to say there isn't one undisputed GOAT, greatest of all time.
60-72. Jason Garrett is way better than that. Bill Belichick is a product of Brady, always will be until proven otherwise.
Bill will always be better than Jason Garrett, and your opinion will not change where Bill is ranked in the annals of the history of coaching. You seem to forget it was mostly defense that won the Pats' first Super Bowl. Probably would have won with Bledsoe had he not got hurt. Can't give Brady all the credit for it all. Coaching played a huge part. You want to separate his whole career. That's not how it works. Ladies and gentlemen, Trey Dizzle versus Matty Ice, and I'm here for it. Scottie, what you got to say about it? He's like, don't be up.
And with that being said, Scottie D, who you got on the hot seat?
Well, first of all, that we debated on Belichick in that very thing a couple weeks ago, and I've always contended that Trey's right on that when it comes to that situation. And I'm not even making arguments. I'm just listing the facts that he lays out, his record without Tom Brady. For me, the hot seat, I'm gonna Bowles is definitely there, I think, but I think you have to say Ron Rivera because this guy's just not that great of a coach. This is his fourth season in Washington. The first three produced no seasons over 500. He won a division at 8-1. Kind of like when he was in Carolina, he won a division at 7-8-1. In Carolina, he was there 9 years. He had 3 seasons over 500. Now his record looks pretty good because one of those seasons was 15-1, a pretty good season. But overall, his winning percentages was not that good. Take away that. He's a career 99-90, 2 ties coach. So he's over 500, but a lot of it goes to that 15-1 season. And they also had a 12-4 season where they went to the playoffs. And then recently he had the situation with Eric Bieniemy. It almost seemed like he was undermining Bieniemy during training camp. And then he said something that to the effect of, if I had known Sam Howell was that good, I would have started him sooner. Something silly like that. I mean, that's your job as a coach, to find how good your players are within your own roster. And if you're saying, oh man, I didn't even know. And you drafted him. You guys drafted him. He was one of the top college quarterbacks that year. That's the most famous position, quarterback. When you look at drafts every year, the names you know most as a casual fan are the guys who played quarterback for somebody. So you should know if that guy's any good and he's on your roster. So having said that, if they're under 500 again, that dude you need a fresh start in Washington. That guy got to go. Be live.
This is twice. It's going to be twice.
You're welcome.
Ditto. Like everything that Scottie D just said is 100% fact. And I've said this twice about Scottie D. I don't think I like it. Normally, like I formed my own opinion. I had a laundry list of things I was going to say about Ron Rivera. But Scottie D, you said it all, bro. And I'm gonna give you that. I'm gonna give ditto. Ron Rivera, that seat is high. Hey, and again, this question was asked before week 1's games, so his seat just got a little. Because I mean, hey, hail to the Commanders.
1-0.
1-0. That makes the seat just a little bit cooler, but we got a season ahead of us. I'm here for it. Let's see what happens. Eddy, cool. What say you?
Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley. And I'm going to tell you why.
You never liked it.
No, it's just Brandon Staley, all right? I was going to say Josh McDaniels because he wears a visor indoors, but I don't expect much from him this year anyway. Brandon Staley. What happened in the playoffs last year against Jacksonville, we have not forgotten and we won't forget. Hopefully during the offseason, he read a book on better decision-making as an NFL head coach. Hopefully he takes said book and took down notes. Hopefully he got those notes and he talked to some people, maybe some old coaches that's going to help him get this mess together, because you can have all that good season and then have this brain fart towards the playoffs. Because I'm not going to lie to you, I think had it been anybody else, they would have been fired. So Brandon Staley, you are on the clock, sir, whether you know it or not. Your ass is on the clock. You just got to make sure that you survive if they let you this season. You got to, in the words of Scottie D, you got to do better all around. You got to make better decisions. You got to be on it, man. You're a head coach, and this is part of head coaching responsibilities. But I ain't gonna never forget about what happened last year. They say, Eddy, you shouldn't bring up old stuff. Oh no, old stuff is very relevant to this year. So I say,
I think he needs to win at least one playoff game. If they get to the playoffs and lose first round again, I think he's a goner. I think that for him to have any type of chance to come back, I think they have to win a playoff game.
Yeah, you got to win a playoff game this year. If not, get up out of here. All right, shout out to everybody for their participation in this week's Choices of the Voices. Scottie D, what's on the tap for next week?
Well, we were talking a little bit earlier about the extremely bad rain that the Cowboys and Giants faced on Sunday night, and there was some bad weather in the Cincinnati Cleveland game. So it got me thinking. Let's reach out to our listeners and ask you to share with us a game, college or pro, whatever, where you can remember that the weather was a factor in the game, like an extremely hot game, an extreme cold game, extreme rain, snow, something that stands out there. When you think of a game, you say, man, I really remember the weather was crazy in that game. It was significant. So we're going with extreme weather games to talk about on next week, Eddy Cool.
Be Live, we know of one that we were there. Yeah, we sure do. All right, that's going to wrap it up for Choice of the Voices. Coming up next, Be Live, bust out that grinder because it's time for a round of pepper. Coming at you right here on the Sports Bros Podcast.
Okay, boys, let's bring it home with a round of pepper.
All right, you heard the woman. It's time for us to go home and get the hell up out of here. But before we go, oh man, we got a round of pepper. You know how we do it. 3 topics, rapid fire style, kind of, sort of, not really. Here to engage, enlighten, educate, and entertain. The 4 E's in no particular order. All right, with that being said, I'll go first. On this day in history, back in 1909, Ty Cobb clinches the AL home run title with his 9th home run. And guess what? All 9 of his home runs were inside of the park. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, back in 1909, you get a batting crown with a bunch of inside the park home runs. Yep. Over to you, Scottie D.
Sticking to the topic of baseball, Derek Jeter was back in Yankee Stadium for Old Timers Day this past Sunday, and in a pregame ceremony, the Milwaukee Brewers were in town visiting, and as Jeter was coming off the field, Willie Adames of the Brewers, the shortstop, approached Derek Jeter and met his hero. And hey, they had a very pleasant exchange. And when Adames turned from Jeter, like a child, he ran back to the dugout with a big smile and hugged somebody and ran off into the dugout. I love that kind of stuff because it shows some baseball players are still fans, and sometimes you really can meet your heroes. Be Live, over to you.
Nice. All right, with my first pepper point, man, oh man, you've been hearing it from the NFL players so much. They are sick of this. And now it's been said even more. With Aaron Rodgers going down with his injury this past Monday, NFL players are sick of artificial turf. And as Aaron Rodgers' former teammate, David Bakhtiari, is sick of it. He said, now hold on. This is the exact, we're not sure exactly, but we blame the turf. And now knowing that in 2026, when the FIFA World Cup comes to America, these stadiums are installing grass for the FIFA World Cup, but you won't install grass for the NFL. That makes you billions upon billions of dollars. Break open the bank. We want grass. We're sick of it. Eddy Cool. The ball.
I remember when it was that hard turf. Now it's that turf where you drag your feet, the black pellets pop up. Anyways, all right, I got some more historic facts for you here. On this day in history, back in 1987, Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Steve DeBerg, remember that name, Scottie D?
Mm-hmm.
Steve DeBerg establishes a franchise record with 5 touchdown passes in the Buccaneers' 48-10 win over the Atlanta Falcons. So, yeah, he established a record. Good old Steve DeBerg back in 1987. Over to you, Scottie D.
I have to pass along condolences to the family of Gil Brandt. He passed away recently, NFL Hall of Famer. He was instrumental in the rise of the Cowboys in the 60s and 70s, and worked alongside Tex Schramm and Tom Landry, and was very innovative in some of his ideas, bringing computer scouting into the league and such. And on the flip side of that, Jerry Jones signed Trey Lance and said he thinks he has an advantage because he can move quickly without asking the coaching staff, the personal staff, or anyone else making a decision. So you go from old innovative hero to this old codger who hired Mike McCarthy and Jason Garrett, Wade Phillips. There you go. America's team. Be Live, over to you.
Dodgers. Go ahead, be live.
All right. Second pepper point coming at you. Major League Baseball was thinking about it. They thought about it, and they say, nope, we're not going to extend the pitch clock for the postseason. Things are going to stay the way they are. They like the fast, quick pace. They don't care about you wanting to see more of the game during the postseason. They want to get it over with. So the pitch clock rules stay intact. Also from Major League Baseball, this is beautiful. 48, man, oh man, Matt Olson leads the league in home runs, knocking 49 and 50 home runs, and he's one shy of the all-time Braves mark for home runs in the season. And the Braves had Henry Hank Aaron on their team. So for Matt Olson to break that record, because it's going to happen, there's still a whole 20-some games to go. Matt Olson leads the league, 50 home runs. Eddy Koo, the ball.
Georgia power. All right, my third and final pepper point. Fellas, let's say happy birthday to one of your favorite Scottie D, Bernie Williams of the New York Yankees. Happy birthday to Bernie Williams. He's a Puerto Rican baseball outfielder. He won the World Series in 96, in 98, and 2000 with the Yankees. He's the ALCS MVP in 96, a 5-time Major League Baseball All-Star, all with the Yankees. And he was born on this day in San Juan, Puerto Rico. So shout out to Bernie Williams, one of the best to ever do it. Over to you, Scottie D.
Speaking of one of the best to ever do it, Israel Adesanya lost his middleweight crown this past Saturday night at a UFC pay-per-view to Sean Strickland, a fighter he's clearly better than. And Adesanya has lost before and avenged his loss to Michael Pereira. I kind of feel like this may have been a letdown and he didn't take Strickland seriously, but at this point, Adesanya is 34 years old. I hope this isn't the beginning of the end of Israel Adesanya, the last style bender. We'll see if we can get him in a rematch here. Be Live, take us home.
My third and final pepper point. I started off the show with it. I'm going to end the show with it. You know how I like to do. It's called What Happened? And you know what happened this week? Fantasy football problems. I'm sick of it. You know that field goal that Phil Bass kick that hit the flag.
Wait a minute, he's getting naked.
But he hit the flag. If it didn't hit the flag, I think it would have hit the pole and it crossed. And it would have came back and he'd have missed it, and I would have won. Also, my big money league, my entire team lost to freaking Tyreek Hill. My entire team scored 47 points. Tyreek Hill scored 50. I tore on my bench. Tua outscored all of my starters. I lost everything. Football problems. I'm sick of it. I don't even want to do something.
Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, Scottie D just took his shirt off. He got happy. Be Live has had a total meltdown. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. You can catch Be Live at the Shared Studios in Fayetteville, North Carolina. You can catch Scottie D at Waynesburg University doing everything and then some. You can catch me on the Lorain County Sports Network, WOBL, WDLW Sports. And I'm just going to get us up out of here. It's a train wreck. We lost utter control. And in closing, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They'll greatly appreciate it now more than ever. We'll never forget those in 9/11. Hopefully your Labor Day was good. And just be nice and be kind to each other, all right? It's been another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. Scott took his shirt and ran off. Be Live, take us home.
Scored more points in fantasy than 14 other people in this league I'm in. I'm in an 8. And I scored more than 14 of them, but I lost because of that freaking kicker. All I had to do was miss, and that's been cool. But it's okay, though. Fantasy football problems. Yes, sir. No.
Bank shot Bass. Ladies and gentlemen, and as always, thanks for watching and listening to the Sports Bros Podcast. Follow us on all of our social media networks or wherever we at, just follow us, all right? We love you. Bye. Take care. See you next week. And Scottie D has found his shirt. Hey, it's Eddy Cool here from the Sports Bros Podcast. Thank you for listening, and as always, continue to follow us on all of our social media platforms. Just click the link in the description box and keep up with the Sports Bros Podcast. And once again, thanks for listening.